Welcome to MMPlays. What is MMPlays? MMPlays, or MMPlays, is two things. First is everything the Misdirected Mark podcast has been over the years. GMing, gaming, and game design advice. We're still going to provide that kind of content with our definitions, our insights, and our off-color and silly humor. The only difference will be how it relates to the second part, which is playing games. That's right, we're going to play some games that you can hear. We often talk about the games we play, but you, as the listener, we're only getting our accounts of what happened. Now we're going to let you hear what we're doing at the game table so that when we talk about it, you can have a better understanding of what we're actually talking about. So yeah, there'll be an actual play component to the show. I'll be editing it to cut out a lot of the unnecessary stuff, but you'll hear us use the mechanics, talk about them while we're playing, and also enjoy a story crafted from the game we're playing.
So let's pick up those dice and get on with this thing.
Misdirected Mark Productions presents MMPlays, our exploratory play series expanded.
Hey, it's Old Man Logan, and I'm one of the players.
Hi, this is Jerry. I'm one of the players.
It's Chris over here. I'm playing this game too.
And that leaves me, Phil. I'm your game master for the first round of MMPlays.
Oh, we're so screwed. No, I'm just kidding.
As you know, for the game that we're playing, I actually roll pretty good in this game.
Do they know? Oh, yeah, we do. The people don't know.
I'm
we
about
know.
to introduce it.
Go ahead. Phil, what game are we playing?
Yeah, we are playing, and this should come to no surprise as anybody who was listening to Misdirected Mark. We're going to start out by playing Cortex Prime.
Woo!
Cortex Prime was designed by Cam Banks and published by Fandom in 2020, and recently that was all acquired by Direwolf. The game is a distillation of Cam's other Cortex games, including games like Smallville, Leverage,
I love Leverage.
and Marvel Heroic Role-Playing.
We'll be playing that later at some point.
The system itself is generic, but the rules come with several pre-made settings that you can use.
Plus, if you want to play one of those older games, there's a bunch. It tells you how to use the game to play those older games.
It does. We'll be getting into the mechanics of Cortex in later episodes. We'll get into some real detail about that. But for the most part, this is a roll and keep dice pool where you'll be assembling a pool of dice. You'll be rolling them, keeping 2 dice, and in some cases, you'll be putting an extra die aside for a level of effect. Cortex Prime is not a single generic system like Fate or Savage Worlds. So what I mean by that is like Savage Worlds is a generic system that has a set skill list, a set of attributes, things like that. Fate has similar, of course you can customize the skill list, but it's still pretty much one set of rules.
So then what is Cortex Prime?
Yeah, so Cortex Prime has a really thin core system. There's only a handful of rules about it, and it's functional, but I wouldn't call it completely interesting. Like, I would not play the fully distilled version of Cortex Prime.
So then how do we make the game more interesting, Phil?
So this is the cool part. What Cam did was built these rule packages called mods. You add them in to different parts of the game to build up the game. And this not only extends through the rules of the game, this actually extends to character creation, where you pick what are called prime sets to define what the characters will be based on.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, so
I think.
It is.
I hope everybody else thinks it's fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
What we're going to find out as we get into Cortex Prime is that we are actually going to have to build our game.
Yes.
That is an actual step where we're going to have to build the game before we can play the game.
Okay.
And before we can build the game, we have to get into our first phase.
What's our first phase, Phil?
We're going to start tonight by determining the genres that are going to make up our setting, and then we're going to build out the high-level concept for our setting. And we'll use part of the Cortex Prime book for this. We'll use some other stuff that I have to put that together. Then in the follow-up episode, we're going to pick our mods. So we'll pick through the mod list of mods that we would like in the game, as well as we'll pick our prime sets to define how our characters are going to be built. And then finally, we'll do a formal session 0 where we will also build characters. And then we'll go play the game.
We will see how much of that actually makes it 2 episodes, which will probably be more than you think, but not nearly as much as you believe.
Yeah, I mean, I have to imagine that the picking of the mods won't be exceptionally exciting.
There may be a summary of what we chose.
But the session 0 we can do.
Yeah, because then we could talk about session 0.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
This is how you do session 0.
That's the process. So here we go. We're going to start focusing on what setting are we playing.
Yeah, what setting are
Because we
playing?
actually don't know, and we purposely, off mics, did not pick one.
Correct.
And we are not going to use one of the canned ones. We are going to build our own because we thought that would be a fun exercise for people to hear. So we're going to do a little bit of Cortex tonight, and we're going to do some brainstorming and collaboration. Out of that, hopefully we'll pull something out for a upcoming episode. What we are talking about, you would find in chapter 5 of the Cortex Prime book called Prime Settings. This chapter is actually pretty thin. in terms of what we're doing, the bulk of that chapter is the published settings. But in the beginning, it talks about how to build your own setting for a game that's basically called Pick 3 and Add Cortex. So we are going to pick 3 genres. And from that, we are going to sit here and come up with what is the setting like? What do the characters do? That kind of stuff. I think the takeaway from this will be, I'm going to be jotting notes down. And from that, I will make a high-level setting document, probably a few pages, and we'll put that out for our patrons.
Yeah, yes, we will. It'll be for the $4 patrons.
Yeah. In terms of safety, this will be a mix of safety and editing. We'll be using the X card tonight.
I'm drawing a giant X on a piece of paper.
I also have one on the table, but with all our gear, none of you will reach it.
And
Jerry can reach the one that I have.
And I'm putting it over here so that me and Bob can reach it.
There you go. Okay. We'll be using the X card tonight as a safety tool, but we'll also be using it as a content editing tool, kind of like For the Queen.
For the Queen.
For the Queen deploys an X card for the same purpose.
Ah.
So if, as we go through tonight, when we are picking genres or we are building out our setting, if there is a thing that you do not like, just not interested in it, doesn't even have to be anything triggering. It can just simply be, I'm not interested in doing that. Feel free to exit.
Okay.
If we exit out, we'll pull it off the list. I'll scratch it off and we'll just move on. No justification required.
Rock and roll.
Makes sense.
Cool. All right, so before we pick our genres, I want to just get from you guys some high-level tone and feel. What would you like in just general tone? Because that's going to also help kind of color our genres for this game.
Honestly, I feel like I don't have a good answer for that until I know what the genres are.
Me too.
I'm
I
actually
feel like
excited
we
to
need to
see
do
where
that the
this
other way
goes
around.
I'm
first.
shocked that you even say that
Why?
because you yourself have several tones that you don't like in games at all.
That's true, but we're doing this like this, so I might actually want to play some of those things.
Okay, that's fair. And so let me bring this up because Chris and I have played games many, many years. And so I know some things about my players. I know things about Bob and Jerry as well. And I know that Chris tends to prefer to play heroic characters, good guy settings, and pulpy, actiony kind of things. If those aren't things you want to like talk about and lock down at this point, I'm fine with that. I was opening it up in case we wanted to set some initial high level parameters for our game.
I mean, if I have to pick a thing,
You don't have
would,
to.
No, not if I have to. If I was going to be like at this point pushed to like choose a thing, I would say that I definitely want to be the good guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not pushing at anything. I will run literally anything you guys ask me to run at this point. And we can talk about this and I will come back to this tone and feel after we do genres to revisit it with you. But if you had any early ones, it was just we could put them in our in the foremind.
I'm not necessarily opposed to having difficult things pushed on me, but I don't want to be made to feel like a choice that I made that didn't seem very difficult makes me out to be a bad person in the setting. Now, if the setting comes after me, that's a different thing, but I'm not really interested in that Shades of Grey thing. Like, I don't want to play Wolverine.
That's fine. Yeah,
I'd rather play Captain America.
Yeah.
I also wouldn't mind playing Iron Man, whose choices are
flawed but cleared.
Flawed but cleared, right? Like, he makes choices for real reasons.
Sure.
Even if they're wrong.
In a similar vein, like I don't want to be a bad guy.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah,
So
I mean
that's fine.
That's about as deep into tone that I want to get before we actually have a genre.
As somebody who will play some pretty dark shit, I appreciate setting these early parameters.
I don't want to play Cartel.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what I'm asking, right? We don't want to be like space gangsters. I respect. Jer?
I'm on board with the same thing. I do enjoy playing the good guys. I don't like playing evil characters.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm actually bad at it.
So with a little bit of tone and feel, you guys want to go good guys, not bad guys. Totally respect that. And again, not a thing I have a problem with. And also kind of had a hint about. Let's talk about genres. So we're going to do the pick 3 and add Cortex. We need some genres. I have from our previous episode, our Misdirected Mark episode 487 on genre blending, I grabbed the random list of genres, which for that episode, I had built it from the list from the Cortex book. So it's now coming back full circle. It is back here. I will even tell you, you can pick a genre off this list. This is only for suggestion. What we need to come away with in the step is 3 genres.
I like the idea of randomizing it.
I want to play Modern Fantasy.
Shocked I am. Shocked by this.
So we're talking like an urban fantasy, modern fantasy.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking
I have
about.
no problem with that.
I will even specify that it doesn't have to be our world, but it has to feel like this time period.
Sure. Okay. I like modern fantasy. I'm going to ask you guys, we're going to dig into each one a little more, but starting with modern fantasy, I'm down.
If we're going to do modern fantasy, I'd actually prefer it to be our world. I've never played a good modern fantasy
I'm
game
into that.
in our
I'm
world.
super into that. I just
That's
don't want to
Well, I
constrain
played
everybody.
one. I played one.
Now I'm going to go with the Ken. I'm going to go with the Ken Height rule, right? It's a hell of a lot easier when I get to use the modern world.
Hell of a lot easier.
I think we randomize at least one of these just to see if we come up with something that makes us
anybody have a
twist our
D20?
brains around. All right. 9. Swashbuckling.
Okay.
Swashbuckling modern fantasy.
Okay.
Everybody okay with swashbuckling?
Yes.
That sounds good. I could do that.
Okay.
Okay, what's
Yeah.
our third one?
You want to randomize again, or do you just want to pick one that we think would go good
Let's
with those two?
randomize again.
6.
That is spy thriller. Yes. These all seem fine with me.
Modern fantasy.
Swashbuckling modern fantasy spy thriller.
I mean, it's essentially James Bond with magic, right?
Can I
Yes.
I have no problem with spy thriller, but I have run a couple things lately that have been spy
Yeah,
thriller.
I mean, you want to switch that? Switch it.
Yeah, dude, roll something else.
roll something else and let's just see if it's better than spy thriller.
12. Military. That doesn't feel good. All right, one more time just for giggles.
Sure.
Tree. Hard sci-fi.
Eh.
Nah.
Why don't we
Spy
just-
thriller's
here,
good.
What about if we went modern fantasy? What was the other one? Swashbuckling
Swashbuckling.
Western.
Well, then it's not really modern. I got to because we're
I
gonna.
mean,
get into some-
Western can be a tone as well. It's really hard. I would do that as a novel, not necessarily try to force 4 people to try to play those tones. That'd be tricky.
I'm actually.
Ooh,
don't get me wrong.
We go romance
Why
or
don't we
high
just high school?
High school.
High school. High school modern fantasy
I'm-
swashbuckling.
All right. I like.
What do you think? It's like Troll Hunters, man.
Do we?
Yeah, there we go.
I'm on board for that.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't even intend the high school thing.
No,
but
it's
That works perfectly.
now we're having fun.
It's one of the options.
cool. All right. So good. So just as by way of example, a couple good ways that we compromised and just some good communication. And just for background for people, when I had said I've been running some spy thriller stuff, one, I'm wrapping a year-long Knights Black Agents campaign with Jerry, Bob, in one group. And two, Senda and I are playing a spy game for Long Live the Queen.
Which is also very
Yes.
swashbuckling.
Yes.
It's actually more kissy than swashbuckly.
Okay.
It's kissy spy, isn't it?
It's really smutty, actually.
Smutty. It's smutty with a hint of spy thriller.
Oh, it's got spy stuff, but it's like instead of swords, like people just sleep with each other.
yeah, that's fair.
I mean, and it's cool. Like, don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
nothing wrong with that.
I'm just not playing that with you guys. So cool. So now that we've talked about those, I would actually like to take a minute and I'd like to break these out a little because I want to hear what everybody thinks are kind of the tropes, themes, and things like that, so that as we're talking about building up our setting, we'll be able to pull those in. Because modern fantasy has a lot of, like, it's pretty broad. Let's just talk about what do we think goes into modern fantasy?
Are we going, what do you think goes into it, or what would
Oh,
you
I'm sorry.
like
What would
to-
you like? That's a
Okay,
better way to put it.
Because there's some choices for modern fantasy.
Yep.
One, does everybody know about magic?
Yes, thank you. That would be the,
Mhm.
Or is it something
is it
that
hidden
only-
world?
Is it hidden world?
I want to do the hidden world. That's me.
I think that's
Hidden
more
world
interesting.
has a lot of appeal to it. So
Especially high school hidden world sounds like a blast.
Okay, so
And that's just me. I
Yeah.
don't know. You guys, what do you guys think?
I think
when
it's
you
interesting.
say
Yeah.
when you say high school hidden world, is it hidden world and these high schoolers know about it, or is the high school part of the hidden world?
No, the high schoolers get involved in the hidden
Okay.
world in some way.
we'll
shape,
get
or
into that
form.
when we start
Okay.
mixing these together. But
That's my.
I'm also a fan of Hidden World. In fact, I think you guys know me. Hidden World is actually one of my favorite kind of subgenres of a number of things. Okay, so Hidden World. Let me ask you, how prevalent is this hidden world? For instance, is the homeless guy under the bridge really a troll? They see him as a homeless guy, but he's really a troll. Or do the fantasy denizens of this world hide?
I like the idea that they're like a part of our world, but we don't notice them. That's me. Does anybody have a strong feeling about that?
Well, I like that idea. The idea that some people can see and some people can't.
Yeah, I can dig it. It opens up a lot of stuff too, where like people you have the classic, they think this person needs counseling because he says he sees something, hanging out under the bridge, and everybody else is like, no, it's just whatever. It's something mundane, but I saw it.
I mean,
Kind of like
This-
Hellboy.
some of the problem with this is like me and Bob are just like gigantic Harry Dresden fans.
Yeah.
So like some of that will bleed over.
There will
but,
be some
like,
bleed from the
But like the
Dresden
Troll Hunter stuff is really good
Troll
too, and we're
Hunters
all
is-
very
yeah.
versed in that, and a bunch of us are very versed in that. And there's a bunch of other like Daniel Spellbound's a thing that's on Netflix right now that's pretty impactful on me as far as what we're talking about. So
I'm just going to keep asking some questions about modern fantasy. Let's talk about magic.
yes, there's magic.
So first of all, let's go with yes, there's magic.
Hell yes.
So it's not just creatures.
Correct.
It's yes, there's magic.
Yes, there's magic and there's creatures. I think that's because there is modern fantasy, but there's no creatures. I would like to
Okay,
see both.
yes, magic, yes, creatures.
I would like to see creatures as well.
I think the magic is built into sword fighting styles because it's swashbuckling.
Swashbuckling works. Interestingly enough, I just started watching Lockwood & Co. on Netflix,
Yeah.
and it's ghost hunting,
Oh yeah.
but they use swords
I'm gonna watch that.
because they're iron swords, and the iron has an effect
Cold
on ghosts.
iron
Cold
kind of,
iron,
yeah.
that kind of
I just
trope.
like the idea of carrying around a magic sword and fighting with it and casting spells through it.
Yes, please.
So magic built into sword fighting. which is cool because it actually then makes magic kind of harder in other locations and we'll get into this as we get into the fine parts of this setting, but it'll get harder because you can't just pull out a sword everywhere.
Correct.
To cast a spell.
Yes.
Okay. We might talk about things where there's other, like 2 types of magic, that kind of thing. But anyway, all right. So we want magic. We want creatures. We want a world that if you were able to see it, you would actually see creatures in more places. In terms of the world, I'm thinking like Men in Black, where there's like the guy who owns the pawn shop.
Yeah.
He's an alien.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that guy at the post office, like it turns out everybody at the post office is all aliens.
Dude, you're sitting right in the same space as me. Like,
Yep.
I mentioned Daniel Spellbound. There's a witch that owns like the local bakery.
Yeah.
And she's not a nice person. She's like a local crime boss too. Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's like a bar that's just filled with all sorts of magical people.
I think we're dialing in on what we
Yes.
want for modern fantasy. And of course, then modern meaning everything else that's current to this world.
Yeah. And feel free to like kitchen sink it if you want, like with like the mythologies and things like that. Whatever you want to throw in there, just put the spin on it to make them fit inside of the modern world.
I haven't feel yet for if we're going with mythologies or we're going to make something up, but we'll get there.
I mean, I like the idea that all the mythologies exist, but they're not what people think they were.
Yeah, they're like a little bit of a twist on
The
them.
unreliable narrator syndrome.
However Phil wants to twist them.
Yeah.
I've always liked the idea that like Hercules, Thor, Gilgamesh were all the same guy. He's just been around a really long time.
Huh,
That sort of thing. People misinterpret it because they saw somebody.
Yeah,
doing
that's
different
an
things.
interesting trope where the same person gets called by multiple different names.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I'm most fascinated and interested in this is because I don't know how much modern fantasy you feel like you've like consumed over your life, but your take on it will be very different from anything me and Bob and Jerry will probably be expecting.
And that will be very
It'll be
fun,
very
for,
fun
us.
for us.
Well,
Yeah.
good or bad, right? I haven't read any Dresden, so I'm kind of washed free of that. So anything that comes up where you guys are like, boy, that's Dresden like, will wind up being a coincidence.
Yeah.
Now, I do have some modern fantasy background because many, many years ago, Bob and I played in a modern fantasy game, Witchcraft,
Yep.
where we did a lot of the things that we're talking about were present in that game. So I'm not unfamiliar with the genre, but I am pretty clean in terms of
Yeah, no preconceived notions really coming in.
not a lot. Heads kind of, I understand the genre. Head's kind of empty.
Good.
All right, cool. Let's talk about swashbuckling. For me, this one's not a bit of an outlier, but it's the one that we're going to have to like, why is it here kind of thing.
That's why I said the sword fighting is one of the primary magical
Yeah, we've got the sword
things.
fighting for part of the magic thing where you can like channel magic through your sword. That is really cool. I like that.
I kind of want to be part of the kendo club.
Swashbuckling also to me can mean a lot of high action,
Thank you.
swinging from the chandeliers.
Well, that puts us straight in the realm of pulpy, right?
I mean,
There's a
I
lot of
don't see how
overlap. between
swashbuckling
pulp
doesn't
and
wind up being
swashbuckling, yeah.
wind up being pulpy as well. I don't think it's going to hurt anyone at the table.
That
Wink,
means
wink.
something. That means something for our characters. Then that they're probably going to be pretty tough. Like we'll be able to take a beating and keep on kicking.
Good point.
When somebody gets flung 20 feet into a wall, it's probably not going to kill them
Sure.
or hurt them that badly. Like
Yeah.
they'll
So
be
we're
able to
not
keep going.
we're not going to be gritty, right? So
Yeah.
Definitely not gritty.
it also sounds to me that solving a lot of problems will result in swords out battles and things like that.
I mean, that's the swashbuckling part, right? The other thing is the high school part. So like,
Well, we'll get there.
we'll get there. All right.
Yep.
What are your thoughts, Sharon?
And so my thought was that fights breaking on the drop of a hat are not unusual. Think of Cobra Kai, where nobody thinks it's unusual. These people are fighting all over the place. It's part of the trope of the universe that people just kind of accept this way kids resolve their
Is
fights.
there a new dueling club in town? There's people fighting with swords all over the place.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's mostly good until they exceed a limit,
Yes.
right? Which would be the same thing for modern fantasy. It's mostly good until
Until it spills into the real world.
exactly. The school fight had outcomes. What's his face went to jail. Tori was, in trouble, that kind of thing. When I think swashbuckling, I not only think high action, but I also think of interesting and perilous places for action. We should be fighting on highway overpasses.
On the rooftop of the school.
Yes. Okay.
For some reason, there's like a greenhouse club, and we're fighting on the glass greenhouse on top of it.
Yes. One wrong step, you go
Yeah.
through. Yes.
There's a big forest nearby, so you can fight from limb to limb, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Also, there's probably like other pseudo dimensions not too far from where we're at. So we
Sure.
step into the Feywild or whatever.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, we'll talk about that as we start to now.
Yeah.
Fairy.
We'll blend
We'll
in
call
just
it
a
fairy.
We'll blend in just a moment. Yeah, I don't want to get a call from wizards.
Anything else you want to know about swashbuckling?
No, I think I'm good on swashbuckling. Let's talk about high school.
Can we just set this firmly in the idea of 16 candles, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, that kind of high school? So those kids were all dealing with high school problems that seem bigger than life, even though they're not really that big of a deal.
Oh yeah, no. We have to have high school problems. Who's asking who to prom? could trigger like a series of duels throughout the school.
The bully wants to beat you up at 3 o'clock after the bell.
Problems with your parents, things like that too,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
that's what Camden had.
just
with-
don't
in
understand
Ferris
kids.
Bueller's.
Yep.
Also, Ferris Bueller might as well be a swashbuckling character.
He's definitely a rogue.
He's definitely a
He's
bully.
roguish, right?
Yeah.
He's very roguish.
Jerry thinks
I
he's
mean,
a
he
bully, too.
bounces the chase, the sequence was trying to get home. Like it might as well be a
Oh, I
swashbuckling
love
scene,
that.
right? Like he bounces on a trampoline,
Yeah.
things like that.
Okay, so that's fair.
Okay, so we're gonna have high school and teen problems mixed into this. So high school implies that your characters are minors.
Yes. Can we get some alcohol for the local party?
Yeah, I didn't say you had to be good minors, right?
I mean, we're good
Is
guys.
that really like being bad?
Well,
But
let's
That's
let's
like
bracket
social.
Let's bracket our ages, right? We're probably playing like 16 to 18 on these
I would
characters.
like to be like a junior or senior in high school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's call it 17 to 18. They're pretty much adults, and they're also not running around punting like 14-year-olds.
Well, probably
I will dispute the fact that they're pretty much adults
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you know,
probably 16.
I'm a 16. I'm gonna say like if we see anybody punting a 14-year-old, we're gonna stop them.
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Okay. Are we going to have part-time jobs? Do we just have school stuff? Do we have after-school
I mean,
activities?
somebody might have a part-time
Okay.
job.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I think those things are all on the table, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All on the table.
The other part of high school, and I need to know, this will be just kind of a gauge thing. I need to know is how much trouble are you in when you don't go? What if you have to like slip into a pocket realm to duel somebody during English class? Is that a serious problem? Is that like the show doesn't really pay attention to attendance, like that kind of thing? How much of high school is going to be part of the game? That's a dial I need to kind of know how to adjust.
If I could use a pop culture reference for this, I think it's the same level of trouble as the Power Rangers movie, the most recent one.
Yeah, okay. So like
because that is essentially what we're talking.
So when
about.
it's interesting, I could get you in trouble with it, and like hitches might result in like attendance problems,
yes,
but sometimes not really.
yeah, like we can figure it out. I mean, we're like juniors and seniors, right? We might have senior tracks and things like that. I think that's a thing these days.
Oh yeah, free period.
I had free periods.
Yeah. So school's gonna be moderately important. When it's interesting,
Yeah.
I will drag the consequences of school. Like school will always be a background, but like if you lose a fight or if you roll some botches and I want to like put some pressure on you, like I'm going to give you like some after school attention or something like that.
Like I said, like the Power Rangers, like Buffy's another great example for how school mattered.
Yeah, when it mattered and then when it didn't.
Yeah.
So now, having kind of delved into some of what the genres mean to us, which is good because we need to have that common frame of reference when we say something like modern fantasy, those kinds of things. This next section I want to do is kind of be a little mishmash here. We're going to start to combine the genres, but at the same time, I want to start thinking about this as a setting, like how it works, how it came to be, what kind of world it is. Like I can kind of see bits and pieces of it, and this is very much a fill process. I like to build a logical construct to the world, and then that's how I build everything off of what we're doing. The high school thing is the age and where you are in life. The swashbuckling piece we've talked about is going to be an expression of magic. This puts modern fantasy as kind of our main genre.
Yes.
And then we're going to blend these other two into the main genre. Looking at that, let me ask you a few questions. Were magic people always here on Earth, or did magic people come to Earth?
I think they were always here on Earth. That's me, though.
I'm good with that.
I like that idea. It's been around for a long time.
Which is why it's so integrated into society.
So magic people were always here. Throughout the history of the Earth, there has always been creatures and magic, expressions of magic, different types of fantasy creatures and things
Yes.
like that. But over time, people learned to not see them, or
That-
something happened.
I think the creatures figured out that the magical community figured out to not be seen because of things like the Salem witch trials and the witch hunts and
the
the
Inquisition.
Inquisition,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, events like those led them to go, we need to kind of go underground.
There just happens to be more human beings on the planet with more ways to see what's going on around them and communicate with each other, that it's now become dangerous for the magic community to be out there amongst people.
Teasing that out, there is a thing that humans discovering the magical world can be is a dangerous thing.
Yes.
That implies that there are things like hunters and there are organizations that may be attempting to find magical people.
In my head, I mean, somebody could tell me I'm wrong because we're just spitballing stuff, right? That there's probably an organization of humans who know magic that are like, try to keep the peace because they're also magical people.
Oh, okay. Let me add to that piece. The largest group is humans who have no idea there's magic. There is a magical community, and we'll get into how fractured or cohesive that community is. in a second. And then there is some sort of pact, treaty, something where a group of magical humans and a group of members of the magical community kind of came together and were like, hey, this is how we're all going to coexist and we'll keep this intact, which implies that there are some rules. Like,
I think that's cool. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
Like you are not allowed to like light up a spell in the middle of a mall or on a TV broadcast.
This reminds me a little bit of Night Watch and Day Watch.
Yeah, man. That's totally a thing.
Yeah.
And it's totally a Dresden thing, obviously.
It is
as
a
well.
Dresden thing.
The Accords and
Sort of, kind of, yeah. The Accords.
I like that. And there's probably going to be members of the magical community that are always trying to find ways to skirt the rules.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big trope in modern fantasy,
Oh, yeah.
what we're talking
There's
about.
got to be
Yeah.
some ne'er-do-wells that are always
Yeah.
trying to, you know.
But I also like the idea of a group that knows about the magical community and doesn't like it.
Damn it. The Harry Potter universe works on the same premise, so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
We're
think
not
we're
breaking-
minting
we're-
anything.
Yeah, we're not
No, we're
breaking
not.
any ground
No.
here.
You're not breaking any ground,
No.
but it will give us some pieces of things to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
So-
mostly how we execute on this little group between these two larger groups.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some rules.
Mhm.
All right, so there'll be some sort of rules or veil and some level of enforcement
Magic cops.
And cover up.
And cover up. Yeah.
and cover up.
And that means there's probably an organization on the human side that is like looking for it too.
That's what I meant. That there's probably a group like that also.
Yeah.
There are probably several different human groups that are difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
Probably.
And the bedraggled dude on the street corner going, they're covering it up, man.
Not
It's
that-
everywhere.
Not that we need to use all that stuff.
In a moment after we build kind of the larger, and this is a thing I do like to do, after we build kind of in large brush strokes the world, I will narrow us down to like, where do you fit in this world? Because as high school students, there'll be some pieces of this, but also as high school students, maintaining the veil is probably harder for you guys because you're impulsive and you're teens. So that's how these things kind of blend together, is that like adults can, manage this stuff for the most part, but your teens and your newly manifested powers, your, heritages or whatever now have all come to mix with, hormones and things like that. And now it's, it's a lot harder.
I think that's the thing too for like magic. People are born into it. They don't just learn it, right? Like you have to have a gift for it, otherwise you don't become part of that magical community.
So bloodlines.
Bloodlines,
Yeah,
or
I like
like
that.
sometimes it just manifests in a person. A little mutant X gene, like I suppose.
So
Intermingling
bloodlines
of-
with some spontaneous.
Maybe not like how it manifests as in like a terrible traumatic experience.
maybe all of the magical humans actually have a little bit of non-magical blood in them, even if it goes back a long, long way.
You've all been here since the dawn of time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to avoid the trope, I think, of humans are inherently bad.
It's not that they're bad; it's that they fear what they don't understand.
Sure, magic would scare the
Correct.
bejesus out of them, and crowds of humans who have this bejesus scared out of them act poorly.
Correct.
Okay.
That's not bad. That's just
It'll
human.
cause panic.
That's
It'll
human
cause
nature,
Yes.
essentially.
What's the line from Men in Black? A person is smart, people are dumb.
Yes. We've got some preliminary groups.
Yep.
So we'll have some obvious human groups that have some hints that there are things that are magic that are trying to figure it out. We're going to have some group, whether it's all human or a mix of human and magical people, who are the people who kind of maintain the secret.
Mm-hmm.
That includes cover-ups, cleanups, things like that, investigations of...
Yeah, and that is a mixture of human beings that are magical and the magical community
Yeah,
that is
that's
not
a-
human.
Yeah, that's a working
Yeah.
together kind of thing.
I love that concept, by the way, that those two groups work together in concert, so you can have a bunch of places like the headquarters that has all these interesting magical folks around.
Let me posit this. There's a reason why the humans are interested in making this deal, right? Logically, there's a reason why the humans are in it for it, and is because the planet can't function without magic. You can't have people panic and have another inquisition, because bad things happen when there aren't people to wield magic.
Not only that, but an inquisition now would be more than devastating because everybody in the world can talk to each other now. It was localized last time.
I like the idea that the magical community, it isn't just like, hey, we have magic, we can do whatever we want. There's a responsibility that the magic community keeps the world going. Like, people think it's all science or whatever, but that's not how the world really stays functioning.
Sure, makes sense.
Global warming isn't a gas emission problem. Global warming is a fact that there is a decreasing number of magical air elementals that are dying off or whatever. And because of it, the world is starting to manifest problems.
Sure, I can get on board with that. I don't know what you
Yeah.
guys think. That's a
Yeah.
unique take.
I like that.
I've never seen that in fiction. I mean, it might exist out there. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you my thinking behind it, right? There's a reason why the humans have to be like, hey, you magical people, we need to protect you and we also need to keep you around, right? As opposed to, hey, we should have just wiped all of you off the planet when we had the chance, back in the Dark Ages. But I'm thinking in some fake history, when they did that, the area of Europe,
We call it a hidden history.
yes, an area of Europe suffered like plagues and disasters
Yeah,
and
man.
things like that, because when you expunge magic from an area, something bad happens. And so the smarter and more enlightened humans were like, whoa, we all need to live here. We need to coexist. But clearly we're going to have to now enact a secret rather than just having you live here openly.
Yep. So now we've got a treaty signed. There's a council that oversees the whole thing.
Magical beings at a high school level, this will be the part of, I just want to be a teenager versus you have a destiny. Your bloodline is responsible for maintaining some portion of the world. When you graduate, you're going to go to college, and then your job is going to be whatever it is. You're going to go out and you're going to help bolster this part of the world with magic.
One of us could have been a family bloodline person that knew this was coming. One of us could have been somebody who had no idea this world existed until they were like a sophomore in high school.
Somebody may not have any interest in taking up the family profession.
Yeah, that.
I don't want to stabilize Earth. I'm not interested in dirt.
Yeah,
Like-
man, that's an interesting
Yeah, I
story
like
that they
that.
could take. Where like I don't want to do this, but I'm like need to do this, and then
Yeah.
just figure out a way to do both at the same time.
So we're going to say that like ecological issues.
In the end, we're still just high school students.
Yeah. But this is like your dad is a prominent
Yeah, man,
Earth weaver.
your dad went to Harvard, and he wants you to go to Harvard, and
Yeah, you're going to be an
grow
Earth
on-
weaver when you
Yeah,
grow up.
yep.
Like, I don't care if you want to be in this rock band. Young man, you're going to put that guitar down and you're going to like start weaving
You
some
have a
Earth here.
responsibility with the
Dad,
abilities that you have.
I can magic and rock across the country.
I
And
do
save the
not
planet at the
want
same
your
time.
life.
Where do you come from? What do you want to do with your life?
I want to rock.
Thank you.
Actually, and I want to highlight this, and maybe we'll pull this off as a future episode. But one of the things we're starting to do here is we are testing material.
Yes.
So as we are brainstorming and coming up with ideas, what just happened here a second ago was us test driving material.
Yeah, I think magic then becomes, because of what we just said,
Yeah.
to go with this test driving, becomes elemental in nature more than anything.
Elemental, conceptual, like elemental for sure, right?
Yeah,
Earth,
I
wind,
think-
fire, things like
I,
that.
I
but,
think conceptual is way harder.
oh yeah, no, it's totally way harder. I want to be
No,
careful we don't
I-
drift too far into like airbending and stuff.
He means harder for
Harder to do.
Harder to
practitioners.
do.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'm okay with
Yeah.
that. Yeah. No,
Like,
there's definitely elemental magic, but there's also like
Like I
There's-
would say, like conceptual magic would be like something that people have a hard time pulling off, and people who are very good at it are very rare.
yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, and by that, like very sought after and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like the stock market is a magical construct.
Sure.
It doesn't like there's nothing that's ever been real about the stock market. And in 1920, when the grand wizard of the stock market passed away and they were installing the new one, the stock market crashed.
Yeah.
Those kind of historical events
Sure.
are now tied to fluctuations in magical power.
Yeah, that makes it easy to start building. If it's about swordplay and things like that,
Mhm.
in some way, shape, or form, which I'm still pretty sold on the whole idea of like
Oh, I don't-
magic is cast through swordplay in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
There can be some other form of magic if we want to throw it in there in some way, shape, or form. Like there can be more than one magic system. That's fine. But our primary form of magic, the elemental stuff, is way easier to pull off. With
In that vein, I feel like it's the combat magic that is way easier to do through a medium like swordplay.
sure, yeah, absolutely.
Whereas if it's not combat, then you can just kind of like wave your hands, say some shit, whatever.
I kinda
maybe,
see a
maybe pull some stuff out. But like the combat part of it, like you're not throwing fireballs at each other.
Yeah, man. Like I have to like do some sort of complicated sword move to like actually throw out a blazing slash of flame.
Now can I imbue a knife and throw that?
Maybe.
That's something I'm
Well,
interested in.
let's have a talk here because I'm
Yeah.
also having this thing where it's like when we get to fencing, like how far off is fencing from other martial arts and things like that? And is it the act of focus and moving your body? Now I'm starting to think like are we getting close to air, like, bending and
I would say no from
Okay,
my
cool.
perspective.
That's-
Like
yeah,
there's
I'm-
something about the actual the physical item of the sword that lends itself to channeling elemental energy.
no, I'm okay with it.
I'm into using the blades as the thing for that. Right?
No, I think we keep to the thing. So there's a
very
thing
anime
where
trope.
what's that?
I'm sitting right in.
No, I know we're sitting
I'm
right
sitting
on that
in
anime.
Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
There's
Okay,
an
so-
anime called Demon Slayer that is very much about that. Like these people use sword techniques that are generally infused with elemental whatever.
Based on our history of the world here and stuff like that, as we have it so far, I want to work in the Y swords so that we have a real good reason for it. So I like the idea that one, it creates focus, right? Having to hold a blade, having to control a blade. And I know, Jerry, you took fencing, right, in college. Like that produces a level of concentration. And then
So does kendo. So does all those martial.
Yeah, I mean, Kendo's just another form of fencing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all those styles that use swordplay.
Like looking back on other role-playing games that have done swashbuckling stuff, there are, of course, different schools of fencing. There were different schools in Paris of like fencing during the Musketeer time, those kinds of things. Can we say that there are other foci, other focuses that can be used, but the tradition that kind of carried over with you guys based on where we're setting our game is derived from kind of a Western Europe swords kind of thing, but like other parts of the world might use staves or something. It still is something in their hands. Or it can just be swords and we'll just come up with a better explanation.
I just want to use a katana.
Oh, you're going to be that guy.
I'm brooding and have my katana.
And your
not going to
trench
be
coat.
brooding. I might be brooding.
You're a teenager. You're going to brood.
Probably.
Okay, then I have a better idea. There is a magical form of sword making.
Yeah, I mean, I can help with this too. Like, why is it a sword? The sword is the primary form of magical focus for these mages that grew up doing this stuff. So, like, it started in Japan, some of this magic stuff for people. It went over to France with the French fencers. I'm perfectly fine kicking it into other, like, martial weapons, as long as it's always some sort of martial weapon.
So here's what I'm thinking.
I like that better.
Because then there can be the Vikings and that thing with, like, axes and things like
I like
that.
the idea of like spear fighters, that kind of thing.
Sure, right? Like,
Okay,
Okay.
one, I'm all on that. Two, what if we say that other forms of magic, right, without swords, is actually pretty complicated and requires like a lot of ritual.
yeah.
Like,
That's what Bob was saying.
yeah, like you can't just like whip off like a do my homework spell sitting around, Jerry.
Complex spells require more area, and so using a sword or something, it's difficult to trace with your hand. But if you can get like a 6 or 8 foot swath going, you can do something more with it. That's why weapons became
Reach.
something big. Yeah, reach.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because I'm thinking at some point, and I'll make up a thing, but like in the grand thoughts of magic, the way to do magic faster was to use implements. And, you know, it becomes the reason why like the sword is the most common implement because name a culture that doesn't have a sword, right?
So-
like they're very prevalent.
For the longest time, it was the best man-made weapon for killing people.
Yep.
Yeah, it was spear, then it was sword, like it was that kind of thing. But I'll workshop a little of this in my head, but there'll be like a reason, and it won't really affect the game, but it'll make me feel better.
Yeah.
Like that it was handed down by like some great dragon or
I mean,
something.
I think it matters a lot, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think this martial weapon thing is a great idea. And like,
Yeah.
I think it has something to do with like the metal can hold the magic, and then the motion helps channel the magic.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Like, you can't put it in guns because bullets don't do that.
Yeah, because the bullet leaves the thing and
Yes.
it's too small.
I was going to
and-
say, I would really, really like to avoid the guns have magic.
Yeah, no guns
Yeah.
yeah,
have magic. Like, people can have a gun, but that's not going to work against us because we have magic.
and that's why you could still use a knife to cast small spells.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so like regular magic is large and difficult. It's like rituals. It's like big circles in warehouses, requires concentration. But the way to access elemental magic, which is a simpler form of magic, is to access it through, and I like what Jerry said, a weapon gives you kind of like a bigger brush.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's good.
like, these things could be accessed, and they were used primarily because they are kind of clumsier spells. They were used in the way, way, way back history for defense, for things like that.
Hey, man, and the better you get at it, the less movement and the faster you can cast these things with your implement of choice.
Yeah.
I also like the idea that like you said, like the metal channels. So somebody who's really good at using like a Zweihänder is going to have some serious magic once he gets that spell off.
Yeah,
It's going to
sure.
it's going to take more effort to get that thing going, but once it gets going,
Although I don't know that we want to play that way where weapons actually matter to how much juice you can throw through a spell, because that would then be like, why is the Zweihänder person sitting at a D12 where the katana person is just as good as only at a D10?
no, it's not. It's not that. It's what they can do with it, because the Zweihänder person is not going to be able to move as fast and be able to make as intricate.
Cortex
movements.
doesn't really account for that though as mechanics.
Okay.
Yeah,
Something to think about.
I think it'll just be preference. Like the idea is that like once it was swords,
Yeah, I think it's
different
more of a,
cultures, or once it was weapons, cultures were like, oh, this is how we interpret that.
Yeah.
If you want to use a katana, you can use katana. If you want to use a rapier, you can use a rapier. They all,
That's fine.
Yeah.
I can see how it might flavor from a narrative standpoint.
yes.
Like the Viking with the axe is more of a kind of a berserker fury kind of a
Sure.
style.
I would build the character around that idea then rather than build the weapon around that idea.
Yeah.
Because Cortex doesn't handle weapon specificity.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you're
like
channeling the
gearing
magic
up.
through the weapon. Doesn't matter which weapon it is, really. But like you're like, I like the like somebody who's carrying like a dagger is going to have a completely different style,
Correct.
than someone who's got like a rapier.
Mm-hmm.
and that's an interesting flavor for how the fight goes.
But I agree with flight wise, but Jerry said something that was very specifically, in my mind, a mechanical effect, and I'm like, it doesn't make sense even if the Zweihander guy, like, it's the same problem with there was a game that had the shot clock where you could count down. If I'm using the dagger and I can attack 12 times before you can attack once with your Zweihander, that's dumb in gameplay.
And we did a whole episode on weapon speed way back in the 150.
Weapon speed's a bad mechanic. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Like, and I don't think Cortex supports it.
We'd have to make a mod to fit it.
Which we don't want to.
I got to ask a question from a practicality standpoint in this game. How you guys carry swords around? Is there like a glimmer or something that lets you hide them?
I'm putting it in a map case. I know what you're talking about.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can only access this kind of magic from having a sword. You go to high school. You can't be walking into high school with like a sword on your back.
I was thinking of hammer space.
Cool. This is what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Like, do you all know a spell?
Define that.
I'm okay with whatever, but I thought we were all part of the Kendo Club.
In anime, there's like the idea, this actually came from cartoons like Ranma 1/2 and Lum, where for no reason the angry girlfriend can suddenly just pull a hammer out of nowhere and whack her boyfriend with it and then put it away. And so for a long time, and I might be dating myself, that like nth dimensional ability to pull something out of nowhere was called hammer space.
Yeah.
And it basically, so the idea, like, you open your cloak and you can pull your sword out of it.
The better storytelling version of it is that you can basically cast a small spell that opens the pocket dimension, put your hand inside and pull out the weapon. That's the better storytelling version of it that occurs in anime and in other books and things like that. I'm also perfectly content to not have that be a thing and figure it out.
What if it's a thing you can do if you're skilled? And us being teenagers who haven't got a lot of training, I haven't figured out how to put my sword in the hidey hole yet.
Well, the problem is that works really fine for Mr. Katana Boy, but if somebody wants to carry, a long sword or an axe or something, that's not going to fit in a map case. It's going to be much more difficult to hide it and becomes a mechanical thing that I'm not as excited about.
I also need to, from a GMing point of view, if we're going to have spontaneous cool fights on weird places, on bridges, on moving cars, whatever it is for swashbuckling purposes, the ability for you to easily access your sword is better for me rather than like, oh man, I have to go to class. I stashed my sword in a room. Now, like, some magical eruption occurs in the courtyard. I got to run to my locker, get my sword, run out to where you instead, like, I run outside, I open up my coat and reach inside and pull out my sword. Kind of like, I'm thinking now as a practical storytelling thing. Yeah. Like, how do we, like,
I'm fine with the hammer space thing.
I'm very okay with hammer space.
Now, how about it actually has to be?
You call me Katana Boy again, though I'm kicking you off the show. I'm not joking with you. I don't appreciate that. Just because you're mad.
That wasn't you. That wasn't you. That was your character. There's a difference.
We don't have a character.
Is there a side story you want to talk about that?
I mean, I like katanas.
So I think the thing I want to limit hammer space to is that hammer space is very much just a spell. Well, we won't call it hammer space when I clean this up.
Yes.
But hammer space is a place where you put your sword. You can't just put everything in hammer space.
Yeah, it's a function of the sword magic itself. And I was thinking that it has to have some sort of portal. So like the map case would be ideal. Like a pocket in your coat, you have to have something you can open in order to get that. You can't just foomp it in midair, or maybe at high level magic you can do that because that'd be kind of cool to look at eventually. And that way everybody would have their own kind of unique little thing. In a pinch, you could make it more difficult to pull it out of another portal. Like you're in the middle of a fight and you don't have your coat, so you reach over and open up a jar of pickles and out comes your sword kind of thing, but it still has to be a portal of some sort.
I'm liking everything we've got so far. I like this idea that the health of the earth is tied to magic in the area. You are all children that have parents that are part of the magical community. And I'm not specifically tying you to anything because we'll make up concepts. But along those lines, you have pressures from your parents in terms of what they're expecting you to fulfill in terms of protecting the earth. You have your high school pressures. We've locked down why weapons are a thing, which I'm fine with because we just want that in the game. I just like that we have now a good explanation. I will write a better explanation for it.
So many disparate discussions there. I appreciate it getting to a central place.
No, and it's fine. And I will say this for me. I think other GMs might be different for this and you guys can disagree or whatever. I just know from my own personal style, and this has always been true for me, I have trouble running things that I don't have a good logical grasp on. Because once I have a good logical grasp on something, then I feel very comfortable to improv off of it because I can maintain continuity.
Yeah, it's got to have its own internal continuity with the space.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine. Like when we were having the initial discussion, the thing with swords, we want it to be swords. And I was like, cool, we'll just have a reason for that. But we need a reason for it. And it really won't even come up. Like it'll come up in our setting doc. It's probably not going to be a theme in our game. It's just going to be a thing in our game. Like, oh, of course, I access hammer space, and we'll come up with a better name for that to grab my sword.
Yeah, man, moving to martial weapons is a great idea too, especially metal infused ones, because metal is part of the earth.
Yes.
Which means I guess you could do wood too, but it's probably holds less magical energy because it's not as dense.
I like that.
Or it can't channel as much energy without the material stressing out and blowing.
And the reason I like, I'll say the other reason I like this is it moves us away from a Western Europe centric idea to all cultures have martial weapons, and all cultures participate in this. And it's fine for your characters to have Western European weapons, but it just says that like the rest of the world also is doing this in all different forms with different weapons and things like that.
I just want to hold a katana.
I'm really okay with that.
Formative stuff bounce around my brain.
Maybe a Dow.
And you go full anime and just go for the big one.
No.
Like you just access the 7 foot.
No.
The Nodachi?
Yes. The one my dad made.
Maybe when I power up and I need to like pull out a big spell, I'll just pull the Nodachi out of hammer space. See, Jerry, there you go. That's there.
Yeah.
There's a cool way to do your big spell. Like, well, you can only use it once because it'll burn it out. But pull it out of hammer space. You got another weapon.
I gotta ask you guys.
Oh my god, that's a cool idea.
I gotta ask you guys a question. Oh, now that actually is
your Zweihander. Just like, let me pull my Zweihander out of.
I don't want a Zweihander. I was just thinking of like I'm just size matters. Go ahead.
Sorry.
In terms of being teenagers and weapons and style and things like that, among you magical teenagers, is there a thing about what your sword looks like? Is your sword gifted to you from your family? Do you create it yourself? Where does your sword come from, and what does it tell? And I'll tell you what I'm thinking about as I'm going to let Bob jump in a second. But I'm thinking of like Kylo Ren's lightsaber is like jacked up without saying it out loud. It's like, this guy's not quite right. Look at his lightsaber. It's sputtering and hissing. It's like he's unbalanced, and so is it.
My gut instinct is that you create it. Your creation is influenced by where you come from or what you think and feel.
Can we say that age 17 is when you're old enough to perform the ritual that casts your personal sword?
Personal weapon.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be quite 17, but we had said we wanted to play like 17 to 18-year-olds. But this may explain why like freshman kids aren't running around with martial weapons.
Yes.
Is that there is a ceremony in a family setting or something. You perform this ritual to create your first weapon, and it's an expression of who you are.
It can't exactly be that a family thing, because there are people who spontaneously manifest magic.
I was just going to say that it could also be some people will do that, and then some people, much like when your mutant gene activates for the first time, some kind of moment of stress, and all of a sudden, holy shit, why am I holding an axe? Like, where did that come from? Like,
in times of danger, all of a sudden I was wielding this aluminum bat. I have no idea why.
I like that.
All right, but there is a ritual, but yes, for the spontaneous people, it can just happen.
There's a part of me that wants to now just wield a magic aluminum bat.
Yeah, right.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, I'm not going to.
It says but I guess the other part is, and this is the this is the high school part. It says your weapon says something about you.
Absolutely. I like the idea of there being a family ritual. It doesn't work for the thing that we set up.
Well, maybe the ritual is that they just help you. Maybe it's less of a ritual and more like a birthday party.
Yeah,
kind of like
a coming of age thing.
Yeah, coming of age. It's your quinceanera.
There's interesting storytelling tropes of like somebody who manifests their blade younger, or somebody.
Sure, yeah. There's always anomalies.
Or somebody who manifests their blade in a family that doesn't have that doesn't have a magical tradition, or vice versa.
Correct.
How come you don't manifest your blade?
Maybe you just don't have the magic.
Character forming in my head.
My character concept that I was talking about last night is firmly going to be played out in this game perfectly. He's got dad problems.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that was the whole concept. Was like he wants his dad to be proud of him. He just needs to be okay with who he is.
Oh yeah, we can totally play that.
Yeah,
like that's not. I mean, especially because we've picked high school. That's real easy for us. Real easy. Your dad's like a wizard of finances or something like that.
I was thinking more like he's like a wizard who really works with the magical community to do the right things. Yeah, and he's like one of the more powerful people, like on the whatever the council is and things like that. And I'm just like, no, I mean, like I want to be that, but I'm not really like that. That's not really what I am.
That's you, Dad. That's not me.
I don't even be like that because I'm like I want to be that, but I'm just not that.
Oh, okay.
Which is even more dramatic.
Yeah. Oh, I'm okay.
Like I said, I need to be okay with who I am.
Yeah. We'll put some safety nets around. We'll get some safety going.
Sure.
So I
Okay.
think we've got a good handle on the.
I have a good
weapon
high level
thing here.
piece. Let me ask you now. Now we're going to dive in a little. Going into Jason Pitt's 4 structures, one of my favorite concepts. We know the system. This is a Cortex Prime game that we're gonna add some mods on in an upcoming episode. Our high level setting, I think we now have a good handle on. I'm going to do some work and actually write up some stuff to flesh it out and give organizations names and things like that. But I now have like some cool pieces to grab onto. So I would like to ask, what is the situation of this game? What are you as players? What are we doing session to session in this game?
So we're learning. That's one of the things. Learning how to fit into the magical world, especially like how do we help the magical world persist in the way that it's persisting?
We're also teenagers, so we're rebelling against whatever structures are being put on us by everything.
Potentially, yes. I mean, if that's what you're interested in, my character wasn't.
I don't know.
My character's not interested in that because my character wants to be like my dad.
I don't know how to play a teenager. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, because you never were a teenager, really.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So week to week. So we're sitting down. I want you to imagine we're sitting down to play the game. Am I running 3 kind of stories about your characters doing stuff at school?
No, man. There's a meta plot of something
Okay.
is going wrong.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like there's something that is affecting wherever we're at. I'm also perfectly happy if you want to use Buffalo, New York.
Well, we'll get to location in a second. Yeah.
But there's something affecting the environment around us, and like as part of our training, whoever our teacher is in the magical arts, part of our training is to go out and deal with the symptoms of this problem that keeps arising. They're supposed to be simple training exercises, and they end up being way worse a lot of the times.
They started as simple training exercises, and you start to discover a pattern.
Yeah, there's something that's going on that is affecting the environment around us in a negative way, because that's what we do, right? We're supposed to protect the environment.
Okay.
I
So
mean, we're essentially magical eco warriors in some ways.
Yeah.
we're getting there.
Magical eco.
Magical eco warriors, arise!
That's
Bob's got axes up on his screen over here.
Magical Eco Warriors Arise sounds like a Fox teen show.
Yeah, it does.
So with that, we've got a meta plot. We've got something's going wrong, which means there's a bit of mystery. There's confrontation. There's probably bad guys of some sort involved
With which to fight.
with which to fight, because action will be how we solve our problems in this game.
Straight up a shonen. We're playing a shonen anime. It's fine.
That's fine. That's fine. We're pushing this all together into one big squishy fun thing to play. Interspersed into that is then our high school teen drama components. Like, yes, you guys have to solve this thing, but there's a big dance on Friday night as well, and you have dates.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so mix in the high school.
We'll have romantic problems. We'll have,
Of course.
problems with our parents, problems with our friends, problems where we don't talk to each other when we should,
Oh,
because that's a teen trope.
I was just gonna ask you, like,
Yeah.
so there'll be some miscommunications among you guys, some rash decisions.
That's
like,
how you
I
play
run
a
off and do
teenager.
this myself.
Just be embarrassed about things that you shouldn't be embarrassed about.
Anytime the answer is, oh, we should talk about this, don't.
Yeah.
Like,
Ooh, we could get plot points for doing that.
we could make a thing where we could, when
What?
we get to mods,
Play like a character in a Robert Jordan novel. Just never talk about things that are important.
Correct. That's not exactly
I mean, that trope
true.
is huge in drama. Like, just as a for instance,
Those kids are all kids.
the number of
So are the
times
adults.
the number of times I've been watching Lucifer
Mhm.
where there's something wrong with Lucifer, and it's like, well, why don't you just go talk to his brother who's an angel? Like,
Yeah.
Amenadiel would know what to do here, or at least could be more helpful, but no one thinks to talk to Amenadiel.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a trope in adult stories also, that the whole point is that miscommunication makes for better drama.
Oh, absolutely. If all you ever did was communicate well with each other, you'd have far less drama.
Yeah, except when it comes to adults, there's very little excuse for it. When it comes to kids that don't understand like how to talk to each other, that's different.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm picturing in my head how I'm going to, like, what I'm going to present on a given night. So I'm seeing, like, there's a problem, there's some bad guys, there'll be some fighting, but sometimes I'm going to mix in a large thing like a dance. Other times it's going to be things like each of you are going to have breakout dramatic scenes, or, scenes with, that also reflect your teen life.
Yes.
Okay, cool. No, that's good. That's good. This helps me like determine how I'm going to structure, what I'm writing.
Whatever your counsel is that helps like manage this whole magical world thing, my dad's part of it.
Oh, I 100%.
That way you have a very easy in for how to bring that
Yes.
part of the world into the game.
Yep. Let's talk about location.
Yes.
Location.
We of course can do Buffalo.
I'm fine with that.
I think Buffalo would be fun.
We're playing in the buff.
No, it's fine. Buffalo's, I'm familiar with this place.
Especially when it comes to magical worlds. There's a lot in Western New York that lends itself towards magical shit.
I would like to reference this as 2020X. let me ask this question because I've asked this in all my recent games that have modern settings. Was COVID a thing?
I'm fine with COVID having been a thing.
Okay. I'm going to tell you there was a magical reason for it, right?
Of course, yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
As long as we're in the post-COVID times.
No, well, that's fine. Let's cover that.
Are
Right?
we?
So we're
I would like to be in the post-COVID
Post-COVID.
times.
I would love to be in the post-COVID.
Yeah, I think we all would like to.
well, and again, this is why this is our 2020X, right?
Mhm.
So are we comfortable saying that like COVID was a thing, it happened, but now like we don't have to worry about like is there masks at the prom or anything like that? Like you guys are just doing your thing now.
Yeah, man.
All right, so we'll call it a post-COVID time. And the reason I bring this up is like, for instance, in our Knights Black Agents game, we chose to play a non-COVID.
Version of history.
Yeah, we just were like, this show was filmed in 2019. So Buffalo it is post-COVID times. We won't really, I'm not going to hammer on years. It's approximately now. Cool. All right, so I had here what kind of elements do we want in the setting, but I think we got a lot of that now because we're going to have magic, elemental magic tied to weapons. So we know we're going to have combat. And this will be a thing when we get into mods for swashbuckling purposes. You guys are pretty tough. We're going to have to go into the mods looking to how to make you guys pretty tough. Okay. What is the martial magic? How does it manifest? Like at the end of a maneuver with your sword, what does that magic look like?
That's a good question. You guys
I
think?
feel like there's two different things going on. One is the actual physical combat. Like if you're going sword to sword, the blades are like wreathed in energy and they're hitting each other and like energy's coming off of them, shit like that. And then there's you're 20 feet away from the guy and you're like, wow, do a thing. And
Is that a thing?
that's what I'm seeing in my mind.
No,
So
it's-
how does everybody else feel about
Yeah,
it?
what does that look like? Are you just like sheathing swords and weapons and creating rock armor or, air defenses or whatever around you? Or are these things manifesting to look like things? What do you think? What did the special effect director say here?
I am not sure. I know what I would pick, but I'm more than open to listening to what everybody else has to say. I'm not like 100% married to any idea. That's why.
Share one idea.
I just like the fact that you draw a sword and you start fighting with it. Like you're building up elemental energy that you can then use to create other effects.
Like what?
If my primary element that I am like utilizing is wind, then at some point it'll let me create an aspect for like enhanced mobility. Like I can actually use my wind to like help me like move around, fly a little bit, things like that, jump farther. But then it becomes a trait on the table that is like a D8 or whatever. Or okay, my sword is now wreathed in flame, right? And my special effect then, if I'm primarily a fire, so go with me with these mechanics for a second. Like my sword is now wreathed in flame. D8 fire sword is on the table now, which then like my special effect is like, oh cool, I can like expel that as a blast across space, which means like that'll get popped up to a D10 or it can be split into 2 D8 and then it's gone. And then I have to rebuild the energy.
And I think there'll be some custom mods around this. I have a
That's my thought because that kind of combines
I
what
like
you
the
were
thought-
saying.
I like the thought of that.
What about for non-combat uses?
So well, for non-combat uses, a completely different kind of magic. Explain non-combat uses.
Non-energy blast, non-attacking, non-defense.
Non-attacking or non-defense? You mean like outside of like we're not throwing down with each other?
Yeah.
Bob said it earlier, but it's like ritual magic.
Still using the sword, the weapon,
No,
or not using the weapon at all.
not using the weapon at all.
No, I was
I
thinking,
want to know what Jerry is,
I'm talking about magic outside of combat.
i.e. not using the weapon.
Can you use the weapon outside of combat to cast spells? That's what I'm getting at.
like, what if you're late from the bus and need to jump like across the?
Like when you guys said magic urban fantasy, I was thinking other spell stuff, not just sword fighting.
Okay, so way back when I was proposing what my thoughts were on this weapon thing was that the weapons help you channel the magic better than just trying to do certain shit by hand. Combat is way easier with the weapon, but I would think that you should be able to do something using your weapon as the focus.
Sure, man. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with like if you're primarily like your primary element is fire. Like, oh, gotta start a campfire. Let me pull out my sword real quick. Oh, I'm kind of late to class. I'm kind of late to school. I need to get to the bus. Pull out my sword to give myself a quick boost of speed after I do a form real quick.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm fine with that. But that's not what the big stuff is. The big magic is either fighting or the big magic is ritual stuff.
That's what my vision was.
Jerry's got a face. I mean,
I don't want to slip too much into over the top anime. Like all it is just sword fighting all the time. Sword fighting and magic. I want to be doing other things besides just sword fighting with my magic.
give
I
some
have no
examples.
idea.
Okay.
That's what the ritual stuff is for.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you still have access to the ritual magic.
Oh, okay.
It's not like you can't do that stuff. It's just not using your weapon to do it necessarily.
I guess what's missing is, let's say you were late for school. The bus is pulling away and you're like running behind the bus.
I need a burst of speed to get to the bus.
Right. Right now, the way we're talking about it, you would need your sword. Like you would pull out your sword, you'd make a couple moves and,
Do a wind jump.
Yeah, like the woolen jump thing where you jump forward with your sword.
Or, you just give yourself like a boost of like wind behind you to carry you through the air for
Sure.
a bit.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure. But
'Cause
what I'm
we're
saying
talking
is,
about elemental magic.
If
Right.
you want to do it fast.
but what I'm saying is the piece of magic we're missing is like the bus is pulling away. You can't just like hold up your hands for a second and create a burst of wind. Like it requires the sword to come out. But if you were home and you were like, your dad's like, make sure that lawn's clear of leaves before you go out, and you're like, yeah, I'm not raking that, and you like go sit, you go sit in your
for
room,
5 minutes and then you
yeah, and you cast
you pull out your ritual magic, you draw your circle, you put up your accoutrement, and then 5 minutes later you create a gust of wind that carries all the leaves off your lawn.
Yeah. What it takes away is it takes away the middle piece, which is the non-sword small magic. You can either do complicated ritual magic that takes a little while, like scene-based, and then there's turn magic, but you need your sword to do turn magic.
Okay.
Are we okay with that?
That sounds good.
I mean, we're just sitting firmly in the Dresden Files between evocation and thaumaturgy.
That's fine.
Those two kinds of magic cover every magic.
Later when we get into mods, we'll need to talk about mods that are going to cover how we're going to do magic. We will need probably a custom mod, which will be fun because we'll get to build one. We'll need a custom mod to cover how to take stuff from the sword, like from sword play, and charge it up. I have something we can model, but I think we'll make something similar but different for it because I have something like that in another Cortex game I created called Solar Rangers. But it starts pre-charged.
I'm not convinced at this point, without going through the mods, that we'll need a custom one to do it.
It'll depend on mechanically how we'd like it to feel. As Chris was describing it, he was describing it with some very mechanical pieces. And if we can do it without a custom mod, that's great. But if we literally want to have a certain effect in the game, we are well within our scope to build a custom mod.
Yeah.
It's really hard to figure out how to do a thing if you don't have an idea of the thing that you want to do, Jerry.
Oh, yeah.
If you can explain the thing, then we can probably figure it out. But if you don't, if you're like, I just want to be able to cast magic willy-nilly whenever I want, then we're kind of like in a way over the top
I guess I'm
magical
thinking
world.
we're trying to find something hidden in the room. Can we use our swords to weave a spell in the air to suddenly be able to get better observation, that kind of thing?
Only if you have the conceptual magic to do something like that. But
Okay.
that is not what we were discussing before with our magic. Because the quicker magic is mostly elemental based.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean you can't like pull out a couple of crystals, sit down and like cast a spell, or stand up and like cast a spell. It'll take a few minutes, but that's still not, I'm opening my third eye.
I mean, the one to me in D&D terms, like the thing that's missing is like continual light. You can do continual light, but you got to like pull out the sword, do a few moves, and then like, boom, your sword's glowing.
Or pull out a crystal.
Or sit down and wait a couple minutes. Yes.
Yeah.
But what I'm talking about, the piece that you're missing is like you walk into a room, it's dark, and somebody's like, whoop, globe of light, and like, lets it loose in the room.
Yeah. Now, if you were a fire aspected, you could pull out your sword and do that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Also,
Or
which,
lightning aspected.
yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it all works.
Like, there's probably a lot of room for using our elemental weapons or whatever, our weapons to, I'm going to generate some energy, I'm going to use it to do X. But you have to be clever then about how you're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
There's not just a like, open my third eye unless we have a thing that can advance ourselves to acquire magic like that. But then that's why you have a thing like ritual magic, which can do pretty much anything. It just takes a little longer.
it's good for us to talk about that because we do actually have to have some internal logic as we play out our scenes of how magic works because it doesn't actually map to anything in the real world.
Correct.
Right. So in part of my job of writing up our setting document, I will have a section of it on magic. And I will try to encapsulate the things that we said, and then you guys can review it and help me punch it up, fix it, that kind of thing. Because then that will help us when we go into mods, and then after we do the mods, we'll make sure that those two line back up.
Yeah. Then we have to talk about how these characters can potentially advance and get stronger.
Yeah, that's actually a mod.
One of the mods. Yeah.
That's a mod. We're gonna have to talk about advancement.
Can you add extra bits of elemental energy to your like repertoire? Like, can you add concepts to your repertoire to cast spells more like what Jerry's talking about?
Yeah, again, this will go to
It's the thing, we're teenagers, right? We're not good at this yet. There's probably people out there that can do exactly what you're talking about, but just not us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and part of what we'll have to get into is as we build our mods is how does magic work as mods? We'll get into that when we get into our mods discussion. Yeah. I feel like I have a nice chunk of information to start making up a thing. Give organizations names, make up some fake history, do a couple of the things about tying certain disasters to certain hidden magical events, the stock market crash, the Black Plague, things like that, and help build up the logical framework for how this world operates. And then into it, having talked about what you guys would expect to see in a session, I have a better idea of the kind of story I need to tell for it. How do you guys feel at this point?
I want to play the game.
Yes.
So that's me.
Well, that's good. We're going to play the game. We got to first build the game.
Yeah.
If you build it, we can play it.
I don't know, Jerry. How do you feel? You didn't say anything.
That was pretty good. I'm still trying to guess what my character is going to be. I've got to think about character concepts and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, and the good part is we still have a little time for that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But in overall, like the overall general concept.
I
and
think the
themes.
general concept's going to be great.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Again, for our listeners, the thing I'm doing here is I'm now going around doing check-ins. I'm going to check in with Bob in just a minute to confirm, but I want to make sure that everybody is we're all in the same place before we kind of conclude this brainstorming session. Chris's statement about he's ready to play means that I'm taking that as like what we have here. You're very good with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Bob.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay, so this is good. So my takeaway from this is to write a probably 3 to 5 page setting document. This will not have any Cortex pieces in it. This will just be a little bit of history, a little bit of what the world is like today, a thing about magic, and probably something about what it's like to be a magical teenager.
Mhm.
And then I will put that together to share with you guys. If you guys like it, then that's kind of the beginning of our framework
Sounds good.
that I will use to build everything else out from.
Mhm.
Cool?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
In our next episode, our next time we sit at the table to play, we will be doing mod selection, and that will take us across a good chunk of the Cortex book as we go through mods for a variety of things. Just as a teaser, things for what are the character traits, how are we going to do combat, damage, how will we express magic in this game, and as Chris also hinted, how do these characters advance? All of those things are covered by mods. And so we'll be bouncing around the book, talking about mods, and eventually what we're going to build is a list of mods. And that will then lead us to the third section where we'll actually do a session 0 and make some characters. All right, thanks everyone for joining us at the table. I've been your GM, DNA Phil, and our players.
Old man Logan.
Jerry?
Chris, and thank you everybody for listening. If you'd like more content like this, you can just check it out at misdirectedmark.com. That's our website. We have tons of content from a variety of shows. And if you want even more, you can check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/MMP, where we have hundreds of bonus episodes and a bunch of other content. Speaking of the Patreon, let's thank a few patrons. Jim, the Royal Merchant Emeritus, Schmitty, the Keeper of the Labyrinth, Andrew Dacey, the Warden of Whiskies, Andy Olson, the Duke of Dice, John Carney, the Court Necromancer, Craig, the Lord of One Name, Tiberius Starcrash Smith, the Baron of Britannia, GM Gerrymander, the Lord of the After Show, Kevin Lovecraft, the Royal Beard, and our newest Royal Court member, Lars Henrik Evgen, who does not have a title yet but will be getting one very soon. Continuing on, Chris Constantine, Miko Froelich, Eric Simon, Kathleen Halperin, Christopher Gamelk, Michael Beck Esperum, Joseph Knoll, Carlos Heptalema, Michael Draper, Cubano, Alice Kira, Jim Fitzpatrick, Brantley Harris, Steve Radabaugh, Rory McLeod, Ninjabi, Richard Wyatt, Joseph Peralta, JT Evans, Brian Kurtz, my Brett, not actually my Brett, but somebody's Brett, Chris Steele, Jared Rasher, Eileen Barnes, and Brandon Barnes. Thank you so much for being our patrons. Those aforementioned shows include Pandas Talking Games, The Gnomecast, Bonus Experience, and Thaco with Advantage. If you'd like to leave us some feedback about this show, you can reach us directly using email at mmp@misdirectedmark.com. You can also go to Twitter at misdirectedmark. That's where you can get the entire network directly. If you'd like to talk to somebody individually, at Robert M. Everson for Bob, at DNA Phil for Phil, at GM Gerrymander for Jerry, and at The Light 101 for me, Chris. This has been a Misdirected Mark production, the media arm of Encoded Designs. Mic drop. We out.